Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome to this ADIPEC Digitalisation in Energy webinar with me, Rebecca McLaughlin-Eastham, brought to you by NAG Connect and powered by DMG Events. I'm delighted that so many of you have joined from right around the world for this topical sector discussion ahead, of course, of the biggest energy conference and exhibition in the world. It's ADIPEC, taking place from the 4th until the 7th of November in Abu Dhabi. It's a place where the world's most influential industry players will gather, so we hope that you will join us too. Register today at adipec.com for your badge. Up for discussion today in our webinar is digital technology. For as we know, it's going to be at the heart of transforming energy systems right across the value chain, from generation to transport, and distribution, supply and consumption. All of these will be helped by technologies, and they will be made more efficient, reliable and sustainable. Therefore, we need a system-wide approach. It's absolutely essential. And that's what we're going to delve into today in focus of the development of infrastructure, which will help us scale future technologies and, of course, support decarbonisation and the energy transition. We'll take a closer look at the solutions on the table at the moment, not least smart grids, drones, satellite technologies, and shared mobility solutions. We'll also explore ways to bolster cybersecurity with data sharing firmly in focus. How do we really strengthen the resilience of our energy systems? Who will answer all these questions, you may ask? Well, my fantastic panel of experts are standing by. They join me from all over the world, so let me introduce you to them. Dr. Mittal Kanabar, he is the Senior Director of Innovation at GE Vernova. He joins us on the line today. How are you today, Dr. Mittal?
I'm great. Thank you, Rebecca, for having me in this panel.
It's wonderful to see you. Thank you for your time. Next up, Harvey Young, the GM for the MENA region for Gecko Robotics. Hi there, Harvey.
Hi, Rebecca. Thank you for having me.
And joining me from Abu Dhabi, it's nice to see you. Mansour Barhaj, he is the General Manager for Energy and Resources for the SEMA region at Microsoft. He is also in the UAE. It's nice to see you, Mansour.
Thank you, Rebecca, for having me.
Great to see you. And completing our esteemed lineup, Carlos Blanc. He is the Technical Sales Director for North America at Tenaris, and he joins us at 5 a.m. in Houston, Texas. Thank you very much for joining us before your breakfast.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to this panel.
Thank you. And I join you from Saudi Arabia. So let's jump straight into our first questions. And I should just say to our audience at large, we would love to hear from you. Please get involved. We love it when you send us your comments, your feedback, and indeed your questions. So feel free to follow the prompts online. And if you have anything specifically for one of our panelists, just let us know which one, and we'll do our best to get that to them. Firstly, a question to you all. Tell me a little bit about your role and your remit and your area of focus right now. Dr. Mittal.
Sure. So my role as an innovation director, really, basically, we are moving towards our targets for our mission on continuing to electrify the world while simultaneously working on decarbonization. So building innovations, collaborations, focusing on how do we electrify and decarbonize the world.
Let me come to you next, Harvey.
Thanks, Rebecca. So yeah, my name's Harvey, and I work for Gecko Robotics, leading engineering and operations out of Abu Dhabi. I joined Gecko because I share the belief that the data we have today represents a very slim sample of the world, the physical world that is that we live in. And I was inspired by their commitment to combining robotics with AI-powered software such as digital twins that can give us predictive maintenance. To essentially enrich our knowledge that we have about the built world around us. So, bridges, public infrastructure, but also critical infrastructure such as gas and energy refineries. Really excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're excited to have you. Thank you very much, Harvey. Mansour, let me come to you next.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm the General Manager for Energy and Resources. That's all industries related to oil and gas, mining industries, and power and utilities across Central Europe, Eastern Europe, and East Africa. My role is to converge the IT and OT environments. So today we are seeing an emergence of latest technologies, cloud computing, cloud deployment, as well as artificial intelligence, machine learning, while these technologies needs to impact quite significantly the operational aspects of the business in the industries I'm leading. So my role is really to get these conversions done and maximize revenues and profit to our customers in these industries.
Thank you very much. Carlos.
Hello. Yes, my current role, I'm the technical sales director for North America, that is US and Canada. I don't know how familiar you are with Tenaris. Tenaris is a steel pipe manufacturer that operates worldwide and provides products and services to the energy industry. So in my current role, what I do, basically, I support the development of new services, and in particular digital services that we will talk through the presentation for this application that normally we develop in North America, but then we expand worldwide.
Thank you very much. Carlos, let me start with you with our first question that appears on screen.
Yeah.
How are cutting-edge innovations revolutionizing efficiency and driving the energy transition? What's your take on that?
Yeah, from our side, as I mentioned, we are a company that is both manufacturing and services. So we work in two different fronts on that side. We invested very heavily, and we continue to invest in our facilities in automation and digitalization in order to improve efficiencies and make more safe our operations. And at the same time, we advance new products and services to our customers with the goal of as well to improve their operations and they are safe. Our main product regarding this, let's talk about energy transition. While one of the main products that we offer is OCTG, that is basically used for the development of oil and gas resources. We have a portfolio of diversified that serves other energy segments as well as low carbon energy applications. Our company set a very, let's say, ambitious midterm carbon emission reduction for our facilities by 30% by 2030, taking as a baseline 2018. So far, we were able to achieve a 17% reduction. So really, we are well on track. And we can offer some examples of these efficiencies that we introduced in the system. I can name our latest facility that we have in Texas, in Bay City, Texas. It's a more technological advanced facility of its kind with a lot of automation. It's a seamless pipe mill and it's LEED certified and leading in environment performance. So it's a unique facility, I would say, in the world. Another example is the introduction that we introduced in the whole markets of OCTG, coming from a manufacturer to a service provider, looking for solutions in the integration and getting to the customers. And with that, we introduce our redirect model that basically then implies that we are serving from the mills or our service centers directly to the well site to our customers. And that comes with a set of products and services, physical, technical, and also some digital services that is one of my key roles in the company.
Thank you very much. Let me come to you, Mansour. Tell me a little bit more. How are cutting-edge innovations revolutionizing efficiency and truly driving the energy transition?
So first of all, I mentioned about the key priorities of Microsoft, which is leading the innovation and transformation of the energy sector and helping really also these energy companies transition to sustainability and green power, green energy, while they remain competitive in the marketplace. So this is, I would say, the paradigm and the key focus we have. But also we recognize that we are in very much in a crucial inflection point, meaning that we are looking at two conflicting objectives. One is efficiency, performance. The other one is decarbonization. And these two are very much interconnected today. So how to ensure these two conflicting objectives are met seamlessly? One is by deploying technologies and innovations such as artificial intelligence, such as digital twin, cloud computing, high performance computing, as well as helping to enable this paradigm shift towards, I would say, the green sources of energies, as well as ensuring that we maintain, we operate in an optimized and performant manner. So some examples I mentioned about the use of AI, but also the conversions within operating companies, the conversions towards assets using IoT, so which is helping organizations to optimize their resources, the use of these resources, and ensure basically they are maintaining or using seamlessly renewable energy as well as fossil fuel energy in a very integrated fashion. So those are some of the areas that are being looked at, as well as ensuring that we are driving, I would say, the mapping the balance and supply of energy. So this supply chain is extremely important, ensuring that basically we always follow the trends of the market and maximizing. We know that renewables will represent by 2030 50% of the energy supply. So how to manage this balance between fossil fuel and renewable energies. So those are some highlights I wanted to make to indicate for this question.
Sorry, Rebecca, I didn't quite catch that.
Rebecca?
This is all important. Can you hear me?
We can now.
Yes. Okay. Talk to me about how cutting-edge innovations, in your opinion, are revolutionizing efficiency, or are we overstating things?
From my perspective, I think if we just take a step back, I think if you ask industry leaders and experts, including the people on this call, they would distill objectives down to one simple sentence that everyone's striving to achieve more good with less bad. More throughput, fewer emissions, more coverage, less operational burden, more speed, but less shortcuts to compromise safety. Now, when I say it like that, I think those statements seem contradictory when interpreted with yesterday's technology. But the things that we were just hearing about just now, convergence, IoT, and cloud computing, that combined with autonomous systems, robotic inspections, AI-enhanced software, all of that is suddenly very possible today. So, a very real and quick example I'll give you is if we look at non-destructive testing, for example. So, this is where we measure the integrity of an asset to determine whether repairs or replacements need to be made or if it needs to be taken offline. Now, common practice is to await an adverse event or schedule timing to mobilize several teams, prepare scaffolding, and potentially shut down part of the facility. So this is costly, risky, and incredibly reactive. Now imagine another world where the same facility has its people onboarded to a digital twin, and they've achieved perfect convergence between OT and IT. Now, they have the tools and data to anticipate the adverse event before it happens, and task a robot or other system to perform an on-stream inspection that doesn't require shutdown to verify the analysis that they've modeled in the twin. And then all the while they're doing this, the decisions they're making along the way are recorded to train models on what's useful and not useful. So it knows what to look for in future underlying data. So, very quick in that scenario, we've achieved better outcome, reduced operational burden, and lower safety risk within a framework that's continuously improving over time. Now, when I say it like this, it sounds blue sky thinking and incredibly optimistic and futuristic, but this technology exists today. What doesn't exist is the user adoption and the access to these AI tools. However, with the introduction and excitement that we're seeing at the moment, that barrier to entry is lowering massively. And we're starting to see some of these inspection strategies rolled out across facilities.
Thank you very much, Harvey. Nothing wrong with a bit of blue sky thinking, Dr. Mittal, but what's your view on how are cutting-edge technology innovations are really revolutionizing efficiency and also driving the energy transition, such an important conversation to keep having?
Sure. No, I completely agree, Rebecca. I think that with all the participants, I just want to add in terms of the specific question, driving energy transition. So when energy transitions comes to play, I really think about solving the energy trilemma. As we are talking about, this type of, how do we balance between the two different views? I see it from three dimensions. Energy security is one angle that we need to address, while affordability of the energy and the sustainability. So looking at, from GE Vernova's perspective, as I mentioned, the mission electrify while decarbonizing. So we play into generation side, how we renewables integrations, as well as even from the hydrogen based or carbon capture, those type of technologies where we could make sustainable energy generations, transmission, distributions, the grid solutions perspective. We're looking at how we can bring more and more green electrons onto the grid, where we can electrify the loads, industrializations where they need grid electrons, affordable. So this is where we see that addressing the trilemma and digitalization. This is the right topic. I think that we can see from the cutting edge innovations that really could revolutionize and bring the efficiency while addressing this energy trilemma challenge. So if I look at it, just to give a context, right, the how element to this. So I wanted to give an example of two specific technology that grid beats. Grid beats is an edge level of technology, and grid OS is a enterprise level technology. So I would like to highlight at both hierarchy level of how can we address at the edge of the energy systems. We can digitize all this ecosystem I talked about, all the way from generations of the green electrons from renewables. How do we interconnect more and more renewables to the grid? And how do we connect more electrified load, industrial data centers, other technologies, electric vehicles to the grid as well? So I see that Grid Beats portfolio addresses software-defined technology, which drives the efficiency. So if I'm more moving from hardware to software-defined, with a huge install base of GE Vernova, I see the transitions on reducing O&M costs, operations, maintenance, all of those things that is part of the today's inefficiency, if I say, or performance aspects. We could address those with that with the Grid Beats perspective. At a higher level, I think some of you also touched upon the clouds and AI and those technology at the enterprise level. I see that the critical element is zero trust grid security model. So we are really looking into that. How do we connect the edge devices to the enterprise system, and while doing this interconnections, bi-directional data flow to get the efficiency, digital twin, AI, all of this technology that we talked about underlying. How do we enable them to drive the efficiency? It's through zero trust in the cybersecurity framework. We also talked about the federated grid data fabric, where you can have the exchange of the data within the data fabric across the whole ecosystem of the grid, which can be electrified, and I think it's hybrid cloud architectures where it can drive the efficiency of public and private cloud technology. So I would like to know, without giving into too many repetitions of those technology, I would like to say these are the Grid Beats, and Grid OS is a key example of how we can drive the efficiency while electrifying and decarbonizing the world.
Okay, so many great points raised by all of you, and not least Dr. Mittal. We will come back to data security, such an important conversation to have. We touched upon efficiencies and driving down the cost curve. Let's move to our next question, which is all about performance and safety. So we are asking in the second question, which you'll see on screen now, how is the rise of autonomous operations enhancing performance and safety in particular? Dr. Mittal, I'll come straight back to you for an answer on that, please.
Sure. This is an ongoing debate, and other panels as well. I've been answered how autonomous and safety and performance, how do you balance between those two? And one of the key elements on the that we are addressing within the grid, as well as I mentioned about Grid Beats and Grid OS. So a little bit zoom into the autonomous operations. We are taking control systems from reactive, which is looking at monitoring the data and understanding what's going on and trying to react to any events happen. That's too late for us. It can take seconds when we move from reactive to the predictive, prescriptive, and then autonomous. I see that control systems like zonalization, autonomous control, we call it ZAC, that type of systems take much faster autonomous actions in terms of, we are talking about few tens of milliseconds, all the way to 100 milliseconds. That level of autonomous actions are really geared towards the safety of a personnel that's working in that electric environment. As we electrify and decarbonize the world, So I think that the autonomous actions with the speed and overall addressing the operational aspects within the control systems would improve the performance and overall in turn a safety for the personnel that's working around in that environment.
Thank you very much. Carlos, let me come to you on that. The much needed move from reactive to predictive and so much more when it comes to autonomous operations. How do we really make sure that we're enhancing performance and safety all around?
Yeah, in our case, I mentioned before, we have implemented this rig direct model that basically, even though it's not autonomous, we were able to develop certain set of digital tools that will make this or the overall operations of our customers much more efficient. And I will explain a little bit more on that concept. We have, for this rig model, service that we provide to our customers. Basically, we're providing the pipes directly from the mill or our service centers to the well site. The foundation for that is what we call Rig Direct Portal. That is a digital platform that allows to do all the administrative work from the ordering of the pipe, traceability of the deliveries, the invoicing, and even with integration with customers and doing this invoicing through APIs, and basically making this process much more simple and more easy for them. But also, I think it's important to mention the one new service that we introduced lately that we call Run Ready services, that basically that improved dramatically the operation on the rig side. Typically, before we have these services on the rig side, operators, before running the casing in the well, will bring an external crew to come and perform several manual operations that basically clean and redope the ends of the pipes. We'll do a manual tally to have the true length of the pipe that will be running the well, and perform drifting of the pipe. So we basically redesigned this operation, introduced innovations in order to create a digital tally, in order to do certain operations and avoiding the cleaning of the redoping, doing certain operations in our mills. So basically, we were able to streamline the process, reducing people on site and on a very risky operation that was done on site. So basically, we're enhancing there with these digital tools that some of this operation and reducing the risk.
Fantastic to hear. Safety must be a priority right across the industry, as we know. Let's move on to question number 3. Thank you very much, Carlos. And our third question comes back to cost, but in terms of the digital tools and strategies that can really help to reduce operational costs and indeed provide a market edge. We all want to get ahead and get there faster. So Mansour, let me come to you for your take on Microsoft.
Thank you, Rebecca. So obviously, reducing operational cost and maintaining agility and competitiveness is extremely important in the marketplace today, and this can be achieved through the use of digital tools and technologies, innovations such as generative AI, machine learning, IoT as well as the cloud-based platforms, which is really, I would say, reshaping entirely how operating companies are operating, how they are enabled in terms of making informed decisions in real time to optimize their processes, to optimize their business, and ensure they are operating in safe conditions and at high profitability. So really, some emerging technologies are cloud-based high-performance computing, cloud-based quantum computing, as well as the emergence and the fast deployment of generative AI and machine learning, which is really accelerating complex. For instance, I can give the example of oil and gas exploration and production to identify new reservoirs, and really I would say this type of technologies is accelerating this type of complex oil exploration, simulation, and reduce it to very limited time. If it takes 6 months to simulate a reservoir, now with this type of technology, it may take 2 weeks, even less. And I can give you some examples as well on other industries where quantum computing, high-performance computing, generative AI has transformed dramatically the way these industries are performing. So I can give examples as well in terms of the use of digital twins, which is really, I would say, a way to better optimize the performance of different assets. For instance, I did mention earlier about the combination of sustainability, renewable energy, as well as fossil fuel energy, how to ensure this integration is done seamlessly, how to ensure basically we optimize the balance between supply and demand based on the grid. Looking at some other technologies, I mean, I did mention about quantum computing. For instance, if the research and development is beneficiating tremendously on this type of technology. If it took 10 years to find a drug or to find a different a battery, for instance, today it may take 80 hours. It's about, basically, we are talking about days today, right? So it is changing completely the way we are looking at innovation, the way innovative products are being launched and tested into the market to beneficiate the world. So those are some key highlights, basically, in terms of how technology is really reducing dramatically the cost in multiple industries, including, of course, energy.
Thank you very much. Harvey, let me come to you. Innovation, technology, digital tools, changing the rules of the game, as Mansour was saying. What's your take?
I largely agree with the comments of Mansour. I think my, slightly controversial opinion, perhaps, is that, I feel that market edge belongs to those with unique proprietary data. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Traditionally, we make critical decisions with significant margins for error factored in due to the limitations in data we have, which is just another way of saying we don't know enough about our equipment, our assets, our facilities, so we're going to be overly conservative. Now, given what's at stake, I agree with that approach. I think it's a very sensible approach, because if we get it wrong, it goes very wrong quick. It's smart and it's based on decades of experience and expertise. Now, with the emerging technologies that Mansour and other panelists have described, and the services and equipment that Gecko offers, we're able to shift from that reactive and conservative mode to predictive and targeted. I'll give you a specific example on this. So, going back to traditional non-destructive testing, companies will measure the structural integrity of their asset just by taking a spot reading. So a collection of spot readings, it could be maybe 10 for a component, maybe even less. And this will tell them the amount of thickness that's left on the asset, and they can take the average of that and use it to calculate conversion rates. And it's largely based off areas showing visual signs of corrosion already, or areas that have been troublesome in the past. Now, these spot readings are useful indicators, they are, but they're just averages, and they're based on 1% surface area of the overall asset itself. And these are huge assets. It could be kilometers of pipe, it could be 200-meter above storage tanks. It's an incredibly slim sample that you're relying on to tell you what's going on to make serious decisions on. Now, if we look at this through the lens of robotics and AI, we're able to collect closer to 100% coverage of the surface area of that asset, or 32 million data points, depending on the payload of the equipment and the asset that you're scanning, in closer to real time. So at a tactical level, we're able to introduce things like targeted repairs that widen inspection intervals and essentially extend the life of an asset quite dramatically. And then at a strategic level, we're learning more about the damage mechanisms that are bringing down our assets in the first place, including how to spot them earlier on, or even upstream actions that we can change that prevent them from happening in the first place. So, these are all things that industry experts have been working towards for some time. Some people that are listening on this call may tend to agree. The difference is the technology is bringing them closer to this capability much, much faster. And this is what I'm excited about. And I think, organizations that equip their experts, whether they're corrosion engineers or, structural integrity experts with these tools, I think those are the organizations that stand to benefit the most.
If I can throw a hot potato question at you whilst I have you on the line, Harvey. One of our readers, our audience members around the world says, what is being done to use AI with regards to prescriptive maintenance to increase asset availability? And indeed, how does it affect labor, asks somebody else. Do you have a view on that?
Yeah, good questions. I'll start with the how does it impact labor? So, when people ask us about AI, the most common fear or concern is AI is coming to replace my job. And the typical counter to that is it's not to replace your job, it's to boost your productivity and to help you achieve more with less. I tend to agree with this. The only difference is, if you operate in incredibly dangerous environments, AI, robotics, and autonomous systems does aim to minimize your exposure to those dangerous environments. What it doesn't minimize is the knowledge and expertise you have to make important decisions. Now, all that AI is doing is bringing 90% of those of the work necessary of the prerequisites to making that decision to your doorstep, so you can have a holistic view as to what's going on in your facility and make a better informed decision. When it comes to labor impact, I think there'll always be a need to implement repairs, to install new equipment. The difference is that precious labor resource won't be wasted on lost causes where intervention wasn't necessary in the first place.
Okay. Dr. Mittal, let me come to you for your perspective, not least when it comes to how AI is affecting labor.
Sure. So I think that how to touch upon the aspect that's how it's been perceived. I want to give examples, right? That if we look at AI, being used, especially from the prescriptive maintenance perspective of the grid equipment, as well as the overall energy ecosystems. The intelligence that AI model that bring to the our maintenance team, it's really giving them more actionable insights rather than trying to figure out being reactive. So the way I see that AI is adding lots more informed decisions, insights to take actions. In the past, those actions being based on the what's your experience for 15, 20 years. This is the way I've always been doing. Rather, we are getting into more informed decisions, and those I've been talking to those maintenance asset managers and asset maintenance team. They find it more equipped, more empowered with this type of predictive tool that gives them insights, what's going on. Just to give example, we were able to detect transformers and the equipment able to locate where the evolving early alarm of the failure, instead of hey, open the whole equipment and trying to check where could be the potential problem. That has been how they've been operating in the past. Certainly, in terms of job security and those things, there will be always a shift. Any technology that we've seen in the computations, networking, telecom, as the technology introduces, that brings that shift the job. But I think that it will overall the number of jobs increases. There are definitely which jobs are addressed and what will be the increase in terms of technological focused jobs. That there is always a ratio changes. But to me, I have seen in 15, 20 years in this industry, the number of jobs with addressing innovations and new cutting edge technology always increases. So I think we are seeing this as a more opportunities than a threat from AI.
Tell me you agree with Dr. Mittal, Mansoor. Not a threat, much more to do with opportunity than something to be fearful of.
I fully agree with Dr. Mittal. Generative AI is improving dramatically the productivity of people. Either they're called white collars, field operators, console operators, but also it is helping those resources to operate in safe and secure conditions, meaning health and safety environment and is important for each and every one. Ensuring that each operator is operating in those safe conditions by using this type of technology is equally important. And how they do that? By maximizing the knowledge they have with them while they are doing it. They're looking at the plant or looking at specific equipments. So decision support system is also very important, which is typically now enabled with generative AI. So what we're doing here with this decision support system, we are empowering each and every operator, each and every worker with the right decisions at the right time. ensuring that these workers do have the full understanding and visibility of operating conditions, any potential alarm, either it is false alarm or not, but also ensuring that they do have some guidance in terms of how to react to these abnormal situations. So I don't view this technology as the displacement of people. It's more about moving or shifting some of the workload, which is very much manual from operators and white collars, to this type of technology, and maintaining high value activities with people on the ground. So that's the viewpoint I have. But also we are seeing a lot of results today through market research, as well as some interviews across multiple large organizations, CXOs. It's all converging to say that this type of technology is bringing huge return of investment. As example, $1 invested in generative AI, either you call it decision support or enabling different type of competencies, will yield $3.50 to the organization on average across all industries.
Thank you so much. Harvey, I can see you nodding away. Give me your 10 pence worth.
Yeah, no, just, in broad agreement here, I think, having worked in software and technology for over a decade, it used to be the case that these tools and technologies we're talking about were reserved for software engineers and for academics and for people quite advanced in their field. I think what's changed in sort of recent years and really recent months is that the access to AI really is for everybody. So you may not have a computing or software background, but if you have something to offer with regards to industry knowledge, perhaps that's how to interpret data, perhaps that's how to make decisions off the back of real-time events, that knowledge in itself has a place with AI, and it's incredibly valuable. So people shouldn't be put off with it. I think, heroes will start to emerge, and those heroes won't be typical software engineers. They'll be everyday working people that are quick to adopt AI.
Interesting. Speaking of everyday working people, like all the good folk on this call and no doubt watching all around the world, you mentioned, Harvey, access to online digital tools. It is increasing, and that segues nicely into our next question, which of course is about how do we strengthen cybersecurity? So our fourth question reads, how can we indeed strengthen cybersecurity and data resilience to meet real-time industry need? Dr. Mittal, let me come back to you on this. Guidance, visibility for the workforce, protecting them at the same time, as well as the organization. How do we navigate? How do we charter these waters?
Sure, this is great point. Certainly, as we have been talking about AI, the data, and also the how do we address the energy trilemma? On the resiliency aspect, we definitely want to ensure energy security while bringing more and more renewables and green electrons to the grid. So I just want to highlight that we are talking about real-time industry needs, and those are really important in terms of performance, resiliency. But at the same time, we are talking about all this bidirectional flow. How about cybersecurity? And this is definitely a great point. So that we has been seeing that more and more interconnections to the energy ecosystem. All the way from generation, transmission, distribution to the industrial load. I see that the penetrations of number of controllable points or controllable devices are increasing in our overall energy ecosystem. Now, if you have all of those the controllable points that relies on information exchange or data exchange, certainly the cybersecurity element is a one of the key area where we need to ensure right from the beginning. So to me, cybersecurity wouldn't come at okay, now I have infrastructure, as an afterthought, that how do we secure that? So that's what I meant by our Grid OS and GridBits Zero Trust. In that one, it's a built-in instead of trying to patch it afterwards. So when we say built-in, there are IEC, the international standards, regulations. Without getting into too much detail, I would suggest that you encourage for the viewers to also look at what are those IEC, and IEEE, all this, regulation standards that allows, the built-in cybersecurity regulations, standardizations. So looking at, just how to strengthen, it definitely, has enabled several technology. I'll not get into the list of all this access control, authentications, IT, OT, convergence, and some of those tools that requires. I want to highlight, very specific thing that, some of the, rigor that is required in terms of policy procedures development, as well as, addressing some of those, incidents response planning. So it to me, it goes to a lot of more, earlier stage of considerations of cyber and built-in, that the software-defined technology, the AI, all of these things, what we talked about earlier, to consider the cybersecurity at the beginning instead of at the end. That's all I would like to leave these viewers.
Thank you very much. Mansoor, let me come to you. It's all in the planning, where to implement, where to strategize. What would be your take on this from Microsoft's point of view?
Yeah, so security is paramount at Microsoft. And of course, we should recognize that cybersecurity is no longer only an IT function. This is really a board level issue, which is affecting the company's performance, as well as resilience, as well as compliance and market reputation, of course. So it was mentioned by Dr. Mittal that zero trust is critical, is important, and Microsoft zero trust model on the cloud, Azure cloud, has become really the best practice framework for the energy companies, which are looking at protecting their infrastructure and looking at protecting their data from a constant increase of cyber attacks. So really, also this has been quite a successful deployment, but also looking at how these organizations are securing their OT environment. So the convergence of the cybersecurity protections or the zero trust model across IT and OT is equally important. And here, basically, we're looking at enhancing part of this zero trust model, the use of AI, and as well as machine learning and data analytics to optimize operations and ensure basically that we have predictive situations in terms of potential cyber threats and becoming more and more smarter when it comes to reacting to specific situations. The other aspect, which is obviously the advanced encryption technology, which is being used today largely, and which is also helping to protect the data on transit and at rest, and ensuring that there is all the sensitive information encrypted, remains secure in any and all conditions, which basically which will protect them from any unauthorized access. So those are some areas of focus that we are working on, and as I said, security is of paramount in anything we do at Microsoft.
Thank you very much, Mansoor. We've had another question come in from our audience. Thank you very much. Keep them flowing to us. We always appreciate your feedback and input. The question is, with the increase of autonomous control systems taking care of expensive assets, removing responsibility from operators, how do you see the insurance price on those assets going, higher or lower? Harvey, I'm going to throw that one to you.
Great. So it's a fabulous question, and if we just break it down slightly, so the benefits that we would hope to get from autonomous systems is essentially reducing the amount of man hours where they're exposed to dangerous situations, hopefully minimizing the human error element that we're also susceptible to, but also boosting what we know about the asset to begin with. So decades and decades of doing the bare minimum of what code or insurance requires of us within the realms of what's possible with archaic technology, that's meant that we have a slim view of what's going on with that asset, and the insurance premiums on those assets reflect that, combined with the fact that these are dangerous environments that our people are operating in. So, if we're able to supplement that with robotic inspections and systems that seek to reduce human error, that equipped with more verbose understanding as to what's going on with the facilities, not just at point of installation, but at every aspect of operation, because we're able to perform these inspections more frequently and sometimes in real time. You'd hope that that would be enough to convince an insurer to reduce the premium. Now, I'm not an expert in insurance, but what I will say is, insurers seek to maximize premiums where they can. So it's also very possible that with this newfound information and operating techniques, organizations will seek to expect more from their assets. That boost in productivity may introduce more risks, may introduce higher premiums. But in any case, I think it's organizations stand to benefit.
Thank you. Yes, indeed, we want more from our assets and indeed more from our insurance brokers. I'm sure we'll all agree. Let's move to our next question, please, gentlemen. Question number 5. It will appear on screen now. How are digital technologies shaping new energy business models and revenue streams? A gift of a question that I will hand to Dr. Mittal.
Sure, thank you, Rebecca. So, yeah, I'll touch upon some of this. First of all, digital technologies, and then shaping onto the business model aspect. So, as we are enabling, the newer technologies that's really shaping or addressing this energy transitions, solving some of those key challenges of energy trilemma, we are seeing that this technology, definitely improve the efficiency. We talked about the performance, autonomous aspects. We are also, before getting into the business model, we are looking at more and more collaborations and innovations across the industries where we could share, and collaborate each other. So we, just to give an example of, we have our, Transmission Innovation Advisory Council, TIAC, and we meet with all the ecosystem partners as a, a conference where, everybody shares, their experiences across the globe. So even the energy, utilities, they are sharing with each other their experiences. How are they improving their efficiency, their performance through the energy, the digital technologies? I think sharing this, insights to each other in that building ecosystem, it's critical. And of course, those business models and revenue streams that come as an outcome of that, how this ecosystem would interact with each other in that partnership manner. So, to me, I think that the newer energy business model, they're more moving towards that performance-based, outcome-based, and where it can be driven more from the service-oriented instead of just trying to just look at from the hardware or equipment, and I deliver the box and then I'm done with it, right? So I think that those type of business model would not be sustainable as we see the systems getting more and more complex, interconnected, and we are dependent on each other on this ecosystem partner. So events on collaborations like Transmission Innovation Advisory Council, moving that towards that, how do we build those performance and outcome based, insight based or predictive? I mean, we looking at so many attributes that we talked about today. I think that those are the outcomes that we are expecting, and how can we build the business model that would make a sustainable revenue streams that and actually respecting each other's ecosystem partners. I think it's a very critical and important, as we'll become more and more interconnected, more and more dependent on each other. So instead of trying to showing as a vendor or who is selling to what component, we are moving towards an ecosystems where we are partnering, and maybe I see sometimes our customers are becoming our suppliers. So I see that there's going to be a bi-directional ecosystems shift, and I think that we can build sustainable revenue streams hereafter, and achieve together energy transition. And this is where I see that sustainable growth will drive from.
Perfect. I do want to jump to the next question because it dovetails nicely with that, and I'll come to Carlos because after that. The question is, what does the future digital energy ecosystem look like? We've touched a bit about regulation. We've talked about partnerships, the need for collaboration. It's a constantly evolving conversation. But Harvey, let me come back to you on this. What are your views, not least when it comes to the environment, the current climate, if we can call it that, for getting together more, talking and partnering on these important issues to make the boat go faster?
Yeah, no, indeed. And I think one of the most dramatic step changes we'll see sooner than we think is, it's a common, I think people tend to see compliance come in and effectively bound innovation and say, you can innovate but at this speed because we need to keep up and we need to be able to make sure that we're adhering to these standards and processes. And that's for good reason. I think what will change is that there'll come a pinnacle moment where compliance actually demands that we start using these technologies because of the benefits and because of the reduction in risk. And I think that step change will not just accelerate innovation, but also help the skeptics and the people concerned come on board a lot quicker. When it comes to the new ecosystems that emerge from this, I think historically networks have been separated, whether that's OT or IT or the safety one. With when blue sky thinking, designing the facility of the future, that separation won't necessarily be front of mind. It'll be thinking about how can we establish perfect conversions where possible. And then lastly, as we learn a lot more about our equipment, I think, and build out a taxonomy of understanding how they interact with each other and the typical things that can influence the lifespan of an asset, that data in itself isn't just useful for how we operate today, but it's going to inform how we build and operate in the future. So the facilities that we're thinking about designing now, we may scratch those blueprints based off the data that's emerging on today's facilities.
Thank you very much. Mansour, let me get your take on the future digital energy ecosystem. What does it look like and what do we need to improve upon or make sure we have in place?
Yeah, so one area where Microsoft is very much engaged is to create an open and standardized ecosystem where all energy companies, technology providers, governments are collaborating seamlessly and effectively in one single platform. So through our large ecosystem of partners and partnerships, we are working to build a blockchain-based platform to create transparent, standardized energy markets. And this is to allow, say, for real-time trading of energy, and it can be called carbon reduction. It could be called also energy as a service. So this type of trading is definitely one of the future we're looking at in terms of enhancing grid resilience as well as a greater consumer participation, and also looking at some critical factor for the energy sector to drive low carbon future. So another technology which is coming, which is being deployed as we speak, is the advanced 5G networks and edge computing. So edge computing will be based on high performance computing as well as quantum computing. And I spoke about the quantum computing earlier and the power of this type of technology, which are playing a pivotal, an important role in terms of enabling real-time monitoring and control of all distributed energy resources, with either it is called renewable, fossil fuel, or other type of energies. So this is where we see, I would say, the future, and of course the interconnection of ecosystems, which is very important. I spoke about this one single platform among energy companies, technology providers, and governments to work effectively. And this is very much also this interconnectivity ecosystem will become more and more visible and predominant moving forward.
Thank you so much. Carlos, let me come over to you in Texas, Houston. I was just there myself for Gastech. Talk to me about ADIPEC, because you have a 17-hour flight ahead of you. We look forward to seeing you on the ground in Abu Dhabi this November. Talk to me about your hopes and expectations, and indeed what message you want to share with delegates and industry peers on the ground.
Yes, and this is really my first time attending the ADIPEC. So for me, it will be really, I'm looking forward to meet our customers there, and maybe also partners to work to continue working in developments of our digital solutions. And of course, we will have a booth over there. So we are hoping to receive customers and people interested in seeing our solutions that we have currently in the market.
Wonderful. I'm sure there will be a long and steady queue. Let me come to you, Harvey. Hopes and expectations for the biggest and best ADIPEC yet?
Hopes and expectations. Look, for me, that there was a time where everything we're talking about now was strictly academic, Having attended recent conferences, I found that people have results and they're speaking about the results and they're impressive results of putting these things into practice. So, for me, I'm really excited as to the stories we're going to be told about how AI is achieving real-world results in the field. We'll be there, of course, telling our stories and what we're accomplishing with our partners, but it never ceases to amaze me what technologists are doing in oil and gas.
Never ceases to amaze you, but does anything make you nervous about the speed at which we're going? Any of the innovations which keep you awake at night? And that's a question to you and to all of the gentlemen.
I guess I'll go quickly on that. What makes me excited and nervous is the barrier to entry, the fact that it's now so easy to stand up some software, deploy a model, ingest some data, and start spitting out some recommendations. It's fantastic because it means that everyone can contribute. It's terrifying because it means something that's put in front of you that looks quite impressive might be based on very little substance or expertise. So, anyone watching, I just encourage you to really dig under the hood. Don't be afraid to ask questions about where these technologies came from and the people that influenced it, and whether or not the models were trained on people that know how to interpret data correctly. But it's an exciting time, that's for sure.
Dr. Mittal, it's an exciting time. Does what Harvey was saying chime with you at all? Great expectations, lots of hopes for the future, but reason to be cautious, shall we say, when it comes to emerging trends in digital technologies?
Yes, absolutely. And just want to highlight that at ADIPEC, we'll be really sharing some of those at our booth. So certainly visit GE Vernova booth. That most of this question I just surface level touch upon zero trust and grid bits, grid OS, all of this digitalization technology. Encourage you to ask our experts. Will be there as Harvey mentioned that expertise definitely is needed. The depth behind just what you're seeing is this glossy your visualization tool, but what's behind it? I think that's very important. Is it designed with zero trust? Is it designed with considering the domain experts with the install base of experiences? I think it's definitely important. To me, I think that one of the aspects I want to highlight that and this does great at this ADIPEC conference is to build those ecosystem I mentioned partnerships. So I think I encourage all the participants to join and look at how do we build this sustainable partnerships ecosystems where I see regulators, the policymakers. We need all of this solution providers. All of this needs to come together and really look at it. How do we bring our energy future towards more sustainable developments of this the planet that we are on? And I think that's where energy trilemma and energy transitions bring to the sustainability. So overall at GE Vernova are really the if you look at our sustainability reports recently been published, we focus on how do we electrify and decarbonize and trying to address those key challenges of sustainability of this planet. So I encourage all of you to join us and welcome to our booth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're almost out of time, but Mansoor, I do want to come to you, and it's fabulous that Dr. Mittal mentioned government, because I want to get your take on the pipeline for PPPs going forward, so important to the energy transition. What's your take, and what are your hopes for ADIPEC, please?
Yeah, so will be very strong participations and presence from Microsoft this year. Will be at the Digital Zone, a large booth with a large number of partners, and but also will be at the AI Zone. As you know, there is an AI Zone which has been created for this year's ADIPEC, and I'm very excited about the agenda and also all the topics which will be covered in round tables as well as presentations, and that's going to be my 25th year's participation at ADIPEC, since I've been part of this engaged oil and gas industry. But of course, I mean, opportunities for us in terms of networking, partnership, looking at positioning Microsoft solutions. So very much welcome to come to our booth, where we will see all the technologies, latest technologies when it comes to Azure AI, IoT devices, the digital twin, as well as the different type of platform for the energy and sustainability. But also looking at the thought leadership will be part of multiple roundtables. So very much excited to be to participate on that segment. A lot of our interactions with the private and public, in terms of private-public collaboration, all the energy industry, international oil companies and national oil companies are joining. So we are looking forward really to meeting them. Now, to the second question you mentioned about the fast pace of the growth of digital transformation. Three points that I want to highlight, which are always sticking in my mind. One is the cybersecurity threats. So zero trust is paramount, extremely important in all we do. Second is the ethical and regulatory concerns, so ensuring basically we deploy technology in a very ethical manner, especially when it comes to deployment of generative AI. And third is the talent shortage and skill gaps. There will be always continuous need to update the skill set of employees to get them up to speed and to get them at the right level of technology understanding to impact positively their business.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And we very much look forward to seeing you on the ground for your 25th or 26th ADIPEC. It's fantastic. Thank you for being so loyal to the event. You and hundreds of thousands of delegates who will also be on the ground. We do invite everybody watching to join us. Please come to Abu Dhabi from the 4th to the 7th of November to join, as you can see, the world's largest energy conference and exhibition. It is truly a superb thing to attend, and you will hear from nearly 2,000 speakers, more than 16,000 delegates. There's more than 184,000 exhibition attendees. It's absolutely not to be missed. But on that optimistic note, we shall have to leave our conversation. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me from all four corners of the world. We look forward to seeing you in the UAE very soon. And to everybody watching, thank you very much for your comments, your feedback, and indeed your questions. I'm sorry that we didn't have time to get to them. We always need double the time with such a fantastic panel of experts, but do head to Abu Dhabi. They will all be there. Until we meet again, gentlemen, thank you and goodbye. And to our audience, the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Bye.